Welcome to the Narrative Reading Bible Podcast. My name is Jessica. Today we are going to continue our reading of the book of Joshua with pages 48 to 58. I hope you enjoy today's reading.
Now Joshua was old and well along in years, and the Lord said to him, "You are old and well along in years, but very much of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains: all the territory of the Philistines and the Geshurites, from the Shihor, east of Egypt, to the territory of Ekron on the north, considered to be Canaanite territory, that of the 5 Philistine rulers of Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, as well as that of the Avites. To the south, all the land of the Canaanites, from Mearah of the Sidonians to Aphek, as far as the border of the Amorites. The land of the Gebalites and all Lebanon to the east, from Baal-gad below Mount Hermon to Lebo-hamath. All the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon to Misrephoth-maim, all the Sidonians. I myself will drive out before the Israelites. Be sure to divide it by lot as an inheritance to Israel, as I have commanded you. Now therefore divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh." The other half of Manasseh, along with the Reubenites and Gadites, had received the inheritance Moses had given them beyond the Jordan to the east, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had assigned to them. The area from Aroer, on the rim of the Arnon Valley, along with the city in the middle of the valley, the whole plateau of Medeba, as far as Dibon, and all the cities of Sihon king of the Amorites who reigned in Heshbon, as far as the border of the Ammonites, also Gilead, and the territory of the Geshurites and Maacathites, all of Mount Hermon, and all Bashan as far as Salekah, the whole kingdom of Og in Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei, and had remained as a remnant of the Rephaim. Moses had struck them down and dispossessed them, but the Israelites did not drive out the Geshurites or the Maacathites. So Geshur and Maacath dwell among the Israelites to this day. To the tribe of Levi, however, Moses had given no inheritance. The offerings made by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, just as he had promised them. This is what Moses had given to the clans of the tribe of Reuben: the territory from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Valley, along with the city in the middle of the valley, to the whole plateau beyond Medeba, to Heshbon, and all its cities on the plateau, including Dibon, Bamoth-baal, Beth, Baal-meon, Jahaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, Kiriathaim, Sibmah, Zareth-shahar on the hill in the valley, Beth-peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth-jeshimoth, all the cities of the plateau, and all the kingdom of Sihon king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, until Moses killed him and the chiefs of Midian, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the princes of Sihon, who lived in the land. The Israelites also killed the diviner Balaam son of Beor. Along with the others they put to the sword. And the border of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. This was the inheritance of the clans of the Reubenites, including the cities and villages. This is what Moses had given to the clans of the tribe of Gad: the territory of Jazer, all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the Ammonites as far as Aroer, near Rabbah, the territory from Heshbon to Ramath-mizpeh and Betanim, and from Mahanaim to the border of Debir, and in the valley, Beth-haram, Beth-nimrah, Succoth, and Zaphon, with the rest of the kingdom of Sihon king of Heshbon, the territory on the east side of the Jordan, up to the edge of the Sea of Chinnereth. This was the inheritance of the clans of the Gadites, including the cities and villages. This is what Moses had given to the clans of the half-tribe of Manasseh, that is, to half the tribe of the descendants of Manasseh: the territory from Mahanaim through all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og king of Bashan, including all the towns of Jair that are in Bashan, 60 cities, half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth and Edrei, the royal cities of Og in Bashan. All this was for the clans of the descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, that is, half of the descendants of Machir. These were the portions Moses had given them on the plains of Moab beyond the Jordan, east of Jericho. To the tribe of Levi, however, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, just as he had promised them. Now these are the portions that the Israelites inherited in the land of Canaan, as distributed by Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the families of the tribes of Israel. Their inheritance was assigned by lot for the 9½ tribes, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. For Moses had given the inheritance east of the Jordan to the other 2½ tribes, but he granted no inheritance among them to the Levites. The descendants of Joseph became 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and no portion of the land was given to the Levites, except for cities in which to live, along with pasture lands for their flocks and herds. So the Israelites did as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they divided the land. Then the sons of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite said to him, "You know what the Lord said to Moses the man of God at Kadesh Barnea about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought back to him an honest report. Although my brothers who went with me made the hearts of the people melt with fear, I remained loyal to the Lord my God. On that day Moses swore to me, saying, 'Surely the land on which you have set foot will be an inheritance to you and your children forever, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God.' Now behold, as the Lord promised, he has kept me alive these 45 years since he spoke this word to Moses, while Israel wandered in the wilderness. So here I am today, 85 years old, still as strong today as I was the day Moses sent me out. As my strength was then, so it is now for war, for going out, and for coming in. Now therefore give me this hill country that the Lord promised me on that day, for you yourself heard then that the Anakim were there, with great and fortified cities. Perhaps with the Lord's help I will drive them out, as the Lord has spoken." Then Joshua blessed Caleb son of Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as his inheritance. Therefore Hebron belongs to Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, as an inheritance to this day, because he wholly followed the Lord, the God of Israel. Hebron used to be called Kiriath Arba, after Arba, the greatest man among the Anakim. Then the land had rest from war. Now the allotment for the clans of the tribe of Judah extended to the border of Edom, to the wilderness of Zin, at the extreme southern boundary. Their southern border started at the bay on the southern tip of the Salt Sea, proceeded south of the ascent of Akrabim, continued on to Zin, went over to the south of Kadesh Barnea, ran past Hezron up to Adar, and curved toward Karka. It proceeded to Asmon, joined the brook of Egypt, and ended at the sea. This was their southern border. The eastern border was the Salt Sea as far as the mouth of the Jordan. The northern border started from the bay of the sea at the mouth of the Jordan, went up to Beth Hoglah, proceeded north of Beth Arabah, and went up to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. Then the border went up to Debir from the valley of Achor, turning north to Gilgal, which faces the ascent of Adumim south of the ravine. It continued along the waters of En-Shemesh, and came out at En-Rogel. From there the border went up the valley of Hinnom, along the southern slope of the Jebusites, that is, Jerusalem, and ascended to the top of the hill that faces the valley of Hinnom on the west, at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim. From the hilltop, the border curved to the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, proceeded to the cities of Mount Ephron, and then bent around toward Bala, that is, Kiriath Jearim. The border curled westward from Bala to Mount Seir, ran along the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is, Chesalon, went down to Beth Shemesh, and crossed to Timnah. Then it went out to the northern slope of Ekron, curved toward Shikharon, proceeded to Mount Bala, went on to Jabneel, and ended at the sea. And the western border was the coastline of the Great Sea. These are the boundaries around the clans of the descendants of Judah. According to the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave Caleb son of Jephunneh a portion among the sons of Judah, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the forefather of Anak. And Caleb drove out from there the 3 sons of Anak, the descendants of Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, the children of Anak. From there he marched against the inhabitants of Debir, formerly known as Kiriath Sepher. And Caleb said, "To the man who strikes down Kiriath Sepher and captures it, I will give my daughter Aksah in marriage." So Othniel, son of Caleb's brother Kenaz, captured the city, and Caleb gave his daughter Aksah to him in marriage. One day Aksah came to Othniel and urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, "What do you desire?" "Give me a blessing," she answered. "Since you have given me land in the Negev, give me springs of water as well." So Caleb gave her both the upper and lower springs. This is the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Judah. These were the southernmost cities of the tribe of Judah in the Negev, toward the border of Edom: Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kina, Dimona, Adada, Kedesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Beloth, Hazor Hadattah, Kerioth, Hezron, that is Hazor, Amam, Shema, Molada, Hazar-Gada, Heshmon, Beth-Pelet, Hazar-Shual, Beersheba, Biziothia, Bala, Ayim, Ezem, Eltalad, Chesil, Hormah, Ziklag, Madmana, Sansana, Lebaoth, Shilhim, Ain, and Rimmon, 29 cities in all, along with their villages. These were in the foothills: Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, Enganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adullam, Soko, Azekah, Sharaim, Adithaim, and Gedera, or Gederothaim, 14 cities, along with their villages: Zenan, Hadashah, Migdal-Gad, Dilan, Mizpeh, Joktheel, Lachish, Bozkath, Eglon, Cabin, Lamas, Chitlish, Gederoth, Beth-Dagon, Nama, and Makkedah, 16 cities, along with their villages: Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Iftah, Ashna, Nazib, Kala, Achzib, and Maresha, 9 cities, along with their villages. Ekron, with its towns and villages. From Ekron to the sea, all the cities near Ashdod, along with their villages. Ashdod, with its towns and villages. Gaza, with its towns and villages, as far as the brook of Egypt and the coastline of the Great Sea. These were in the hill country: Shamir, Jatir, Soko, Dana, Kiriath-Sana, that is Debir, Anab, Eshtemo, Anim, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities, along with their villages: Arab, Duma, Eshan, Janim, Beth Tapua, Aphekah, Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities, along with their villages: Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Judah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities along with their villages: Halhul, Beth-Zur, Gedor, Marath, Beth-Anath, and Eltekon, 6 cities, along with their villages: Kiriath-Baal, that is Kiriath-Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 cities, along with their villages. These were in the wilderness: Beth-Arabah, Middin, Sekakah, Nibshan, the city of salt, and En-Gedi, 6 cities, along with their villages. But the descendants of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites living in Jerusalem. So to this day the Jebusites live there among the descendants of Judah. The allotment for the descendants of Joseph extended from the Jordan at Jericho to the waters of Jericho on the east, through the wilderness that goes up from Jericho into the hill country of Bethel. It went on from Bethel, that is Luz, and proceeded to the border of the Archites in Ataroth. Then it descended westward to the border of the Japhletites, as far as the border of Lower Beth Horon, and on to Gezer, and it ended at the sea. So Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, received their inheritance. This was the territory of the descendants of Ephraim by their clans. The border of their inheritance went from Ataroth Adar in the east to Upper Beth Horon and out toward the sea. From Mikmethath on the north, it turned eastward toward Taanath Shiloh, and passed by it to Janoah on the east. From Janoah, it went down to Ataroth and Nara, and then reached Jericho and came out at the Jordan. From Tappuah, the border went westward to the brook of Cana and ended at the sea. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Ephraim, along with all the cities and villages set apart for the descendants of Ephraim within the inheritance of Manasseh. But they did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites to this day, but they are forced laborers. Now this was the allotment for the tribe of Manasseh, as Joseph's firstborn son, namely for Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, and father of the Gileadites, who had received Gilead and Bashan, because Machir was a man of war. So, this allotment was for the rest of the descendants of Manasseh, the clans of Abiezer, Helek, Azriel, Shechem, Hepher, and Shemida. These are the other male descendants of the clans of Manasseh, son of Joseph. But Zelophehad, son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons but only daughters. These are the names of his daughters: Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua, son of Nun, and the leaders, and said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brothers." So Joshua gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers, in keeping with the command of the Lord. Thus 10 shares fell to Manasseh, in addition to the land of Gilead and Bashan beyond the Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh received an inheritance among his sons. And the land of Gilead belonged to the rest of the sons of Manasseh. Now the border of Manasseh went from Asher to Mikmethath near Shechem, then southward to include the inhabitants of En-Tappuah. The region of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuah itself, on the border of Manasseh, belonged to Ephraim. From there, the border continued southward to the brook of Kanah. There were cities belonging to Ephraim among the cities of Manasseh, but the border of Manasseh was on the north side of the brook and ended at the sea. Ephraim's territory was to the south, and Manasseh's was to the north, having the sea as its border and adjoining Asher on the north and Issachar on the east. Within Issachar and Asher, Manasseh was assigned Beth Shean, Ibleam, Dor, that is, Naphath, Endor, Tanakh, and Megiddo, each with their surrounding settlements. But the descendants of Manasseh were unable to occupy these cities, because the Canaanites were determined to stay in this land. However, when the Israelites grew stronger, they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but they failed to drive them out completely. Then the sons of Joseph said to Joshua, "Why have you given us only one portion as an inheritance? We have many people because the Lord has blessed us abundantly." Joshua answered them, "If you have so many people that the hill country of Ephraim is too small for you, go to the forest and clear for yourself an area in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaim." "The hill country is not enough for us," they replied, "and all the Canaanites who live in the valley have iron chariots, both in Beth Shean with its towns and in the valley of Jezreel." So Joshua said to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and Manasseh, "You have many people and great strength. You shall not have just one allotment, because the hill country will be yours as well. It is a forest. Clear it, and its farthest limits will be yours. Although the Canaanites have iron chariots, and although they are strong, you can drive them out. Then the whole congregation of Israel assembled at Shiloh, and set up the tent of meeting there. And though the land was subdued before them, there were still 7 tribes of Israel who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you put off entering and possessing the land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe, and I will send them out to survey the land and map it out, according to the inheritance of each. Then they will return to me and divide the land into 7 portions. Judah shall remain in their territory in the south, and the house of Joseph shall remain in their territory in the north. When you have mapped out the 7 portions of land and brought it to me, I will cast lots for you here in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, have no portion among you, because their inheritance is the priesthood of the Lord, and Gad, Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh have already received the inheritance that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them beyond the Jordan to the east." As the men got up to go out, Joshua commanded them to map out the land, saying, "Go and survey the land, map it out, and return to me. Then I will cast lots for you here in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men departed and went throughout the land, mapping it city by city into 7 portions. Then they returned with the document to Joshua at the camp in Shiloh. And Joshua cast lots for them in the presence of the Lord at Shiloh, where he distributed the land to the Israelites, according to their divisions. The first lot came up for the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. Their allotted territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the north side, their border began at the Jordan, went up past the northern slope of Jericho, headed west through the hill country, and came out at the wilderness of Beth-aven. From there, the border crossed over to the southern slope of Luz, that is Bethel, and went down to Adaroth-Adar, on the hill south of lower Beth-horon. On the west side, the border curved southward from the hill, facing Beth-horon on the south, and came out at Kiriath-baal, that is Kiriath-jearim, a city of the sons of Judah. This was the western side. On the south side, the border began at the outskirts of Kiriath-jearim and extended westward to the spring at the waters of Nephtoah. Then it went down to the foot of the hill that faces the valley of Hinnom, at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim, and ran down the valley of Hinnom toward the southern slope of the Jebusites, and downward to Enrogel. From there, it curved northward and proceeded to En-shemesh and on to Geliloth, facing the ascent of Adumim, and continued down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. Then it went on to the northern slope of Beth-arabah and went down into the valley. The border continued to the northern slope of Beth-hoglah and came out at the northern bay of the Salt Sea, at the mouth of the Jordan. This was the southern border. On the east side, the border was the Jordan. These were the borders around the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. These were the cities of the clans of the tribe of Benjamin: Jericho, Beth-hoglah, Emek-keziz, Beth-arabah, Zemaraim, Bethel, Avim, Para, Ophrah, Chephar-ammoni, Ophni, and Geba, 12 cities along with their villages: Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth, Mizpeh, Chephirah, Moza, Rechem, Irpeel, Taralah, Zelah, Hileph, Jebus, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kiriath-jearim, 14 cities, along with their villages. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. The second lot came out for the clans of the tribe of Simeon. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah and included Beersheba, or Sheba, Moladah, Hazar-shual, Baalah, Azem, Eltolad, Bethul, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth-marcaboth, Hazar-susah, Beth-lebaoth, and Sharuhen, 13 cities along with their villages: Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashan, 4 cities along with their villages, and all the villages surrounding these cities, as far as Baalath-beer, Ramah of the Negev. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Simeon. The inheritance of the Simeonites was taken from the territory of Judah because the share for Judah's descendants was too large for them. So the Simeonites received an inheritance within Judah's portion. The third lot came up for the clans of the tribe of Zebulun. The border of their inheritance stretched as far as Sarid. It went up westward to Maralah, reached Dabbesheth, and met the brook east of Jokneam. From Sarid, it turned eastward along the border of Chisloth-Tabor, and went on to Daberath and up to Japhia. From there, it crossed eastward to Gath-Hepher and to Ethkazan. It extended to Rimmon and curved around toward Neah. Then the border circled around the north side of Neah to Hanathon and ended at the valley of Iftah-El. It also included Katath, Nahalal, Shimron, Idalah, and Bethlehem. There were 12 cities, along with their villages. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Zebulun, including these cities and their villages. The fourth lot came out for the clans of the tribe of Issachar. Their territory included Jezreel, Chesuloth, Shunem, Happaraim, Shion, Anaharath, Rabbath, Kishion, Ibez, Remoth, En-Ganim, En-Haddah, and Beth-Pazez. The border reached Tabor, Shahazuma, and Beth-Shemesh, and ended at the Jordan. There were 16 cities, along with their villages. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Issachar, including these cities and their villages. The fifth lot came out for the clans of the tribe of Asher. Their territory included Helkath, Hali, Beton, Akshaph, Alamelech, Amad, and Mishal. On the west, the border touched Carmel and Shihor-Libnath, then turned eastward toward Beth-Dagon, touched Zebulun in the valley of Iftah-El, and went north to Beth-Emek and Nile, passing Kabul on the left. It went on to Ebron, Rehob, Hammon, and Kanah, as far as Greater Sidon. The border then turned back toward Ramah, as far as the fortified city of Tyre, turned toward Hosah, and came out at the sea in the region of Achzib, Ummah, Aphek, and Rehob. There were 22 cities, along with their villages. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Asher, including these cities and their villages. The sixth lot came out for the clans of the tribe of Naphtali. Their border started at Heleth and the great tree of Zananim, passing Adami-Nekeb and Jabneel as far as Lacham, and ending at the Jordan. Then the border turned westward to Aznoth-Tabor and ran from there to Hukok, touching Zebulun on the south side, Asher on the west, and Judah at the Jordan on the east. The fortified cities were Ziddim, Zer, Hamath, Rakath, Chinnereth, Adamah, Ramah, Hazor, Kadesh, Edrei, and Hazor, Iron, Migdal-El, Horem, Bethanath, and Beth-Shemesh. There were 19 cities, along with their villages. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Naphtali, including these cities and their villages. The seventh lot came out for the clans of the tribe of Dan. The territory of their inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Ir-Shemesh, Shalabin, Aijalon, Ithla, Elon, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Baalath, Jehud, Benabarak, Gath-Rimmon, Mejarkon, and Rakon, including the territory across from Joppa. Later, when the territory of the Danites was lost to them, they went up and fought against Leshem, captured it, and put it to the sword. So they took possession of Leshem, settled there, and renamed it after their father, Dan. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Dan, including these cities and their villages. When they had finished distributing the land into its territories, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun an inheritance among them, as the Lord had commanded. They gave him the city of Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim, as he requested. He rebuilt the city and settled in it. These are the inheritances that Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the families distributed by lot to the tribes of Israel at Shiloh, before the Lord, at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So they finished dividing up the land.
We are almost at the end of the book of Joshua, which is what we're going to conclude tomorrow with pages 58 through 66 of Book 2 of the Narrative Reading Bible. So dive in, keep reading your Bibles. Take care, and God bless.